Welcome back to Echo Ridge. Today, we're finally going to get to geothermal power. I felt bad in the last video because I really wanted to get more accomplished. And while I did do a lot of things, even after I was finished recording, such as destroying this entire area, we are still waiting on this place to finish being pumped out. Now I have added 2 more pumps, so we have a total of 4 liquid pumps trying to get all of the oil and petroleum out. I'm also doing things like, whenever we can, trying to mop. Like old Brian M has put about 21 kilos worth of petroleum inside this little bucket, because it's another way to get oil and petroleum out, because they'll come drop it off at the bottle emptier. I've also queued up a lot of sweep commands. In fact, there shouldn't be too much debris left. I will also queue up all of this on a priority of 1, because the less debris around the colony, once again, will help improve the frames per second. In the course of clearing out all these biomes, I also put a door in front of our ice. That way, if I ever do want to get access to that ice, we will be able to grab it. One thing I'm slightly concerned about is, well, there's many tons of ice in here. Now, eventually it will melt and then drop down in here. I'm just hoping this reservoir is big enough to hold all of that ice if it all ends up melting at the same exact time. I'm also putting a bunch of tiles in here and then going to seal it off with insulated tiles. That way I can make this area here a part of what's going to be our geothermal power plant and our magma area. We're going to do some fun and stupid stuff with magma today, and the dupes are going to be fine with it because they have suits on and they certainly won't get burned. Probably. Our backup coal system is doing great. Unfortunately, we are already down to 147 tons of coal. That's never good. And considering we started at around 180, well, we're using quite a bit of coal per cycle. So the sooner I can get the geothermal power plant online, the better off we'll be. Other than that, everything else on the colony seems to be doing pretty well, especially considering now we have the coal backup power. So we're not experiencing any brownouts. We're up to 2.1 million calories. I'm hoping that continues to rise. And 51.2 megajoules coming from 427 eco power banks. That calorie count would be much higher if our deep freezer would actually freeze food for some reason. And I've done all the checks to make sure everything's good in here. We still aren't able to get down to minus 18 degrees. I think part of the reason is we're losing a lot of thermals from these tiles here on the bottom. You can see that our hydrogen goes in at around 18 degrees, comes out at 11.8, which is good, except by the time it gets all the way back, it's around minus 7.9 degrees. So that's about 3 more degrees that the thermal regulator has to chill down by. And it could be because I made these insulated gas pipes out of granite. If you take a look at granite versus something like igneous rock has a thermal conductivity of 0.063, whereas the granite has a thermal conductivity of 0.10. Even going through air, you can see that the hydrogen's coming out at minus 20, and by the time it hits the deep freezer, it's at minus 17, minus 18. So that's another 2 degrees just getting there. So while I wait for all that oil to finish being pumped, I'm going to replace all these insulated pipes with insulated igneous rock and see if that helps any. I love that they can change the material of the pipes without actually losing any of the hydrogen inside of it. Oh, it looks like we're ready to mop some more. That'll be good. Looks like we've also finished building this floor back out, so I can also come in here and destroy all of this. That'll give us more room. I will bring that ladder over. In fact, I can probably get another tile's worth. Yes, that'll be good. I don't love the look of single abyssalite, so while I'm here, I'm also going to replace single pieces of abyssalite with the insulated tile. I think it just looks better instead of having thin abyssalite. Oh, look at this, more fossil. Brian's doing a great job. We're getting really close with the first pond, thanks to some more mopping. The second pond still has a little bit more to go, and this is the more important one that I have to get rid of first, because I'm going to build a wall here made out of diamond, and that's where the magma is going to sit, because why not, right? I suppose I can start building some of the infrastructure. I will be using as much of the space as possible because the the more heat I can put in here, well, the more steam turbines I can run, and the more power we're generating. I'm also going to need to insulate this wall here. So I will cover this up, something like that. Let me get rid of this. I can move you over here, I suppose. Oh, and this volcano finally went idle. It's no longer dormant. So I'd really like to start collecting some of this magma. Please hurry, pumps. There should be a later game pump, like maybe a high capacity pump with high capacity liquid pipes that could move 100 kilos per second. Oh, I think I'm onto something. Instead of just having one size of pipe, we could have standard size and the high capacity size. I suppose I should start dealing with this water too while I have nothing to do. Unfortunately, there's many different types of water, from salt water to brine, polluted water, and regular water. And the same goes for the ice. There's many different types of ice in there. For the water and polluted water, I can hook it into this line because it is just going up to a water sieve anyways. And then the brine water and salt water can be dumped in this tank. Yeah, that sounds like a decent plan. That way I don't have to put any other infrastructure in. So here's the implementation. We have a liquid pump and we have 2 liquid filters. The first liquid filter is going to say water, and the second one is going to say polluted water. If the liquids are water or polluted water, it travels through this pipe, goes all the way over, and then is going to plug into here. In fact, because I want to use up that water first, I'm going to have it take priority over the water in this polluted water tank. So we'll just plug into the output there. So all water and polluted water will end up all the way back up to these water sieves. All the water and salt water will go up the other side all the way to this tank here. Oh, we're getting so close. A few more mops out of the left side and we'll be done there. Let me put in the left side of the wall. That will be good. Now I need to plan exactly how these things are going to join. The big question in the design is whether or not I want to be able to have access to the igneous rock once the magma is cooled. The issue is, though, I have 2,000 tons of igneous rock. I really don't need any more. And if I incorporate a magma dropper so I can get access to the igneous rock, I'm really going to be limiting my heat throughput. Because right now, my current design that I'm thinking about is having the entire floor of the geothermal heat pump be nothing but diamond tile, and then just controlling how much heat is being sent in. Whereas if I do a magma dropper, you're only letting in a little bit of magma at a time. And I've done plenty of magma droppers, so I think I'm going to do this insane build instead. And as long as I had a couple of heat spikes, even when that magma ends up solidifying into solid tiles of igneous rock, we'd still be drawing heat out of the rest of it. And I do have a portion in here I could probably get down to if I was careful and corner build a tile there. Yeah, let's do that. I'll put a heat spike here, a heat spike into here, and then this entire sidewall will be nothing but diamond tile, and then the bottom will be diamond tile. I mean, what could go wrong? Well, to be honest, a lot could go wrong. But we're going to do it anyways. We are going to be making the steam turbines out of lead because they will be cooled. I do need to make sure I don't exceed the 120 tiles. So right about there, I'll put a simple little door there. Made out of gold, sure. Actually, that looks pretty ugly. Let me see if I can think of something better. I'm trying to squeeze 15 steam turbines in here, 3 groups of 5. The issue here is I need to be able to get into these rooms. I suppose I can put a door vertically here, especially if I move it over by 1. That'll be fine. And you may be looking at the steam turbine's room and saying, this is a vacuum, how is this going to work? Well, I'm going to try using the conduction panels in order to keep the steam turbines cool. May not work, and I may have to flood this with some sort of environment, but we'll see. All right, that many steam turbines is a little too big, so that's where we're going to stop the room right there, and then we can start building more. Can I get one more in there? Possibly? We'll have to see for that last one. That is 13 steam turbines. Not too shabby. Oh, look at this. We're almost done in this pond, which means I can deconstruct this guy. And since we have the available pumps now, I might as well throw another pump in here to speed this along. This is going to be a little wonky. But if it's wonky and it works, is it really wonky? Time to bring in the heavy watt conductive wire. We're making this out of lead, which might seem foolish considering I said that I'm going to flood this entire compartment with magma, but it's going to be fine. We're only going to flood a little bit of it with magma. There we go. I am so looking forward to all the power. It's going to be great. I'm trying to stay on top of all the sweeps in here. As soon as this is done, I'm then going to uncork this volcano after I figure out the design for the diamond. We're going to call it a heat pipe. And then we'll be adding a lot of igneous rock temperature shift plates. And then we need to build our other 2 spikes into the core. Lots to do, lots to do. Oh, it looks like we're ready for another mop too. I wish I had more aluminum. That would be great. Because the better the refined metal, the better the conduction panel does. So I think we'll end up using copper, which has a decently high thermal conductivity. And using a standard thermal aqua tuner setup, normally you don't want the thermal aqua tuner cooling any more than, say, 5 steam turbines. So we're going to duplicate that process here. Oh, I'm already out of copper. Let's queue up some more copper here. Let's do a quick 50. But the long and short of it is we'll have 3 aqua tuners, the first 2 cooling 5 apiece, and the third one cooling 4. I love doing large builds like this because while any number of things could actually go wrong, the premise is pretty simple. So as long as I'm careful, we should be just fine. Why did I just build all these bridges? That is not the way we want to do. Now that I'm looking at it, it'd be easier to connect them all up here and then just have one bridge go down. So yeah, exactly. Building everything and planning everything carefully. Nothing's gonna go wrong. Nothing's gonna go wrong. It's gonna be a nice, easy day of recording. Oh, we were so close. It looks like this volcano is gonna erupt for the first time. It's gonna be in probably another 10 to 12 cycles before it erupts again. The eruption period of 57 seconds out of 9,000 seconds means that this volcano only erupts once every 15 cycles. Oh, please hurry. It'd be so good to get some of your magma. Okay, what if I do this really quick? No, I have pipes in there and everything. That wouldn't go well. What if I just seal that off? All right, hurry up. You can do this. Nope. Let's use something a little stronger. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Right now it's still rising pressure. It's not actually erupting. No, no, no. Don't stand there, Macapaka. Hurry up, Bill. Do more. Oh, there we go. Hurry up. Dig that out. Dig that out. You can do it. Sandstone? Yeah, the sandstone's gonna melt. What happens when sandstone melts? We should probably look at that. Well, not that it matters. I already unearthed the volcano. It turns into magma. Oh, this is perfect. Let me build another one of these. And now we'll be able to save some of the magma from the first eruption. After it erupts and we end up dropping the magma wherever we're going to drop the magma, I will get in there and analyze the volcano. But for now, this will do just fine. I am building the wall a little higher because while it only erupts for 57 seconds, it's 57 seconds at 151.8 kilos, which ends up being a little over 8.5 tons. Well, based on the density, it should only fill up to about here. But here on Echo Ridge Gaming, we always do things that are safe, because our motto is, safety is our #1 priority. How very anticlimactic. I was thinking we were in a hurry. We're still just rising pressure. So I suppose I have time to start putting in all of the igneous rock temperature shift plates. I don't know where they're going to stop because I don't know where that bottom diamond is going to be. We do know they'll at least come up to here in the heat box. I am going to use igneous rock because we have so much of it. Building melted. Uh-oh. Oh no, this is fine. It's fine. Some of the magma is solidifying into igneous rock, as you can see, because all of these obsidian tiles have to heat up. Oh, we just had a lead wire melt. Luckily, it just came down here. Where did it go? Hopefully, it's re-solidified. Yep, liquid pipes are good. I should have remembered there was a wire in there. And I do not see what happened to the liquid lead. I'm supposing it solidified and somebody came and grabbed it. I just haven't seen it. Oh, there it is, right there. It's hiding behind the oil bucket. Now, while I do this, why don't you enjoy a little, ONI ASMR? We'll be right back. That'll be good for now, because I think the diamond floor is going to be going around here somewhere. And our pond is almost done. I can deconstruct this pump now, and then go pick up all of its materials. At long last, we have finished pumping all the oil. So this is the last deconstruction that we'll have to do over here, minus the ladders. And we've managed to collect quite a bit of oil, which you might be wondering, Echo, why didn't you ever just go oil to petroleum for a power solution? And the reason why is because the oil reservoirs require water to run. And while we do have a lot of water right now, we don't have enough sources to provide oxygen for 200 dupes, at least on this planetoid by itself. So I'm trying to make this last as long as possible. And yes, as long as you keep watching this series, we're going to keep exploring. After the geothermal power, I think we're going to get started with space and the collection of all these resources. We could use the slime for our mushroom farms. But before I can even think about that, we need to solidify power on this colony. And once all this is picked up, I can then start the dig. I suppose I can start the dig right now, because it's not too big of a deal. It's going to go straight down like this. Oh, perfect. And of course, we will build a bunch of ladders, except we are not going to make them out of sedimentary rock. We will make them out of obsidian. Just be careful. Now, when they pick all this hot rock up, which they're going to bring it out through here and then out through here. This is 308 kilos of crude oil. So even if they drop a little bit of that hot obsidian right there, there's enough crude oil to be able to absorb that temp. So we don't have to worry about making any sour gas. And after that, I don't care what they do with it. I definitely don't want any of this lead falling in there. So all of this is going to go away, at least up to that point. In fact, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to put a heavy watt conductive joint plate that heads into the sauna. That way I can run our thermal aqua tuners off of it. Instead of having to run a bunch of wire from transformers, I also need to seal this room up. So maybe it's better to put it over here, because I have to have the ladder there anyways. And that way I can remove this one, and we'll be able to put the door here. Oh, what is this? Molten lead! I told you! Don't put any lead down there! It's okay. We don't actually turn into lead gas for quite some time. 1749 degrees. Okay, that's going to get really close, but it's still safe. I'll then move that molten lead into the oil pond and it'll re-solidify just fine. Well, as soon as we discover it, there's our 2 buckets of molten lead. That'll work out just fine. Now we can select molten lead and they'll dump it right in there and it'll re-solidify. Now we still have a lot of sweeping to do, although we are almost done with the temperature shift plates. That's good news. I can sweep up that, get rid of all of these as well. And then I'll start building the heat spike that goes in here. We have 73 tons worth of diamond, so we have plenty to be able to do this design. Poor Hacker Bob is not a very good construction boob. Hopefully they find something else to do shortly, because they've been building this one tile for quite some time. I am also starting to put in the thermal aqua tuners. Once again, we will need 3 of them. I am putting them right below the liquid vents to help them stay cool. Even though we won't be approaching their overheat temp, it still wouldn't be a bad idea. Of course, having that steam drop directly on the diamond tiles would be good too. Yeah, let me move these over by 1. Normally, the floor of your geothermal power plant is not a diamond heat pipe. Here's the initial dig for the left heat spike, but I need to block this tile right here. So we're going to corner build something in there. And I don't want to use an insulated tile. I don't mind if it transfers thermals. So I think we'll use a regular tile made out of obsidian. That'll work out well. Oh, look at the little bit of crude oil sitting right here. It was trying so hard to become sour gas. We ended up with 13 steam turbines, so I think I'm going to have the center thermal aqua tuner cool 5 of them, which means this thermal aqua tuner will work the hardest, which makes sense because as the heat comes in from the core, it's going to be much hotter over in these portions at the ends than it will in the middle. So having this thermal aqua tuner work the hardest is a pretty good idea. Go up with our insulated and then go right into each conduction panel. Really hoping that these conduction panels work out well. And come right back down into our liquid pipe thermal sensor. Not made out of gold, please. just in cases. Oh, all this is made out of sedimentary rock. No! Stop making things out of sedimentary. There's one. Now just two more. There we go. There's all three. And I think we'll just use some crude oil. Might as well. Crude oil is not the best coolant, but it should be fine for this use case. And it's conveniently located, so that'll work out well. I do not need insulated tiles to fill all these. In fact, can I just fill all of them at once? Kind of like this? Yeah, this should be okay. I might have to remove some blobs from one or two of the loops, but it's better than running a fill line all the way across the heat room. I am going to need one piece of conductive wire for the doors that are going to control how much heat is coming into the room. Oh, it makes me wonder, should I put another heat spike right here? I can make that work, right? Yeah, why not? I can do the same sort of thing right here. Owner build an obsidian tile, just like here, and then we'll have 1, 2, 3 heat spikes plus a pool of magma. Speaking of heat spikes, it's time to start putting the doors in as well. I am going to be using a manual switch to control the door to start with, because I need to make sure it stays open and does not transfer anything in until we're ready for it to transfer stuff in. The crude oil is starting to come in, but I need to make sure the thermal alpha tuners are not going to run when I do put power on them. So I'm going to set them to above 2000 degrees. I'm sure I'll remember to turn them back on. We are not going to be using lead heavy watt wire, even though the melting point of lead isn't until 327 degrees. We could have power spikes that turn that room hotter. So once again, we'd rather be safe than sorry. I will use copper. Here goes all of our wonderful copper. I'm going to have to make some more. Its melting point's not till 1000 degrees. Maybe I should use iron instead. Iron has a much higher melting point at 1534, and we have an iron volcano. Here we go. That was a lot of iron, but it does its job. We also need a conductive wire run. I'll make it out of iron as well. It will be a door somewhere there, somewhere right here, and then this door here. Now for the door itself, because this area is going to be getting so hot, I'm going to use steel, not iron. The cooling loops are filled. There will be a little blob of crude oil in each of these pipes here. In fact, I'm going to have to plumb that out anyways, so I might as well do that. And that. Hopefully they're smart enough to plumb it from the top, not from the bottom. I don't want the crude oil landing on this diamond tile. Oh, thank goodness they did it from the top. That'll be empty just fine. You can see I still need to remove one blob here. Now the diamond heat pipe is going to be 2 tiles wide, so that way I can transfer as much thermals into the room as possible. We're going to start with the first tile. I need to make sure they do not connect, but there'll be a door here, and then a door right here. We're getting so close. It's going to be so much power. This heat spike is almost done. I'm finishing deconstructing all these ladders, picking up all this material, and then I'm going to get in here and drop this magma. In fact, it'd be really cool if I could just bore a hole right through here. Maybe? I mean, it is a vacuum. The dupes will be okay. They don't have to build anything. They just got to destroy. And that way, this volcano continuously adds its heat to the main magma biome. I think I'm going to do it. Sounds like a great idea. The door on the left side is going in. Oh, I gotta move that. I don't understand why I can't flip a door 360 degrees. This is gonna have to go like that, which means I have to move. Ooh, which means I'm not moving that in until the automation wire is in. This heat spike is coming along just fine. And this area here is ready for some magma. In fact, I'll build this up sort of like this, and the dupes will get in through here. That way when this magma spills over, it's not going to rush out through here. I'm sure it's not under that much pressure. I'm starting to put in the second row of the heat pipe, and it's going to go just like this. Easy peasy. Want to make sure they can still climb down there in case anything goes wrong. That door should open immediately. Yes, 45 degrees. That vacuum will stay there. For those of you who've never seen anything like this, I wanted to give you the basic theory. These heat spikes are very hot. As we can see, they're up to 1300 degrees. They're made out of diamond, and diamond has a pretty good thermal conductivity. You could also use metal tiles. Unfortunately, most metals would end up melting. Steel, though, would not melt because its melting point is 2426, but its thermal conductivity really isn't as good. So until you get to materials like thermium, diamond window tiles are typically the way to go. But we put the doors in here because since this is a vacuum, when the door is open, the heat can't transfer from these diamond window tiles to these diamond window tiles. So what we end up doing is putting a thermosensor, or probably 3, in our heat room that controls when these doors open and close. When the doors close, all the heat in the diamond window tiles pass through to what we're calling our heat pipe. Ooh, one thing I did forget is a battery for the steam turbines, but that's not a big deal. I'll just throw one right in here. Very convenient having the heavy watt conductive wire in here. So the battery will just add to the heat in the heat room. I suppose I'm gonna have to rebuild a couple of ladders to be able to get up there. And then we have the automation go all the way down through here. We'll use a bridge over that door. There we go. Now, whenever you have the batteries over a system like this, you also want to have an emergency signal, because if for some reason we have plenty of power, which I don't see happening, and the steam turbines are not running because the battery doesn't need any power, but it starts getting too hot in here, we need to make sure we have a way to send a green signal to the steam turbines and tell them to turn on. So we'll use a thermosensor that says, hey, if the temperature in the room gets over 300 degrees, turn on no matter if our colony needs power or not. And I just realized I made all that automation wire out of steel. Okay, better to overbuild than underbuild. Our heat spikes are nearing finished. Our battery's almost in. I think it's about time to bore into this wonderful magma here. I think we'll go in right through here. Oh, this is going to be great. It would be nice to allow all this magma to drain, but it's only one little compartment, so it's not too big of a deal. Make sure we're picking up our materials as we dig them up. These are going to be the 2 danger tiles. I'm going to put them on high priority, so hopefully Dupes will come deconstruct them at the same time, because as soon as one is open, the magma is going to start running in. And despite my earlier jest, the suit will not protect the dupe from magma. Got a little bit of visual bug here. That automation wire has been built, but it's still showing the outline like it has not. This needs to say if you are above, let's say, let's not cut it close, 275 degrees. And we might as well build the temperature sensors for the doors. You want them somewhat close to the door, because if you have the temperature sensor for the doors way over here, well, this area could end up being 600 degrees, and this area still could be 300 degrees. So you want to be able to shut the door rather quickly. So I'll connect it just a little bit further away. Then we'll put another one, say right here, and one right here. Looks like we're ready to bore into the magma biome. Oh, this is going to be glorious. After the magma flows, I will probably leave the debris there. We'll have to hurry up and construct these diamond window tiles to make sure magma doesn't come over here. Really hope I'm not forgetting anything. There's the dig commands. We're going to go priority 8 on them. It's going to be fine, chat. It's going to be fine. You know what? Before I do that, I want to deconstruct these ladders here and put insulated tiles just in case this area ends up filling up. And I'll build one right there as well. Just a little precaution. Now people are stuck. Of course they are. Let's hurry up, please. With the new fancy floor in, we'll go ahead and bore this out. And then we'll drop this here. Unfortunately, someone's going to have to stand in the magma to deconstruct these 2 tiles. But it'll only be for a second. Notice our window tiles are at 60 degrees. As soon as we're done with this, I'll be sealing these up. Removing this ladder, sealing up this diamond tile. And then we can finally add some water to this situation. Now the water is going to be a lot. We have about 470 tiles, and I want 50 kilos worth of steam pressure in each tile, which means I need about 23 tons of water in here. So before I activate all the heat, oh look, that was so easy. I even missed it. Do you think I have time to go pick this up? I'm sure they'll be fine. It would just look so much cleaner. In fact, if somebody wouldn't mind fishing that out of the bottom, please. Now, to get water in, it's going to be pretty simple. We're just going to use one of these bottle drainers. and connect it right to the steam's output. And then I'll enable auto bottle and just start dropping water. Another way to do the math other than taking the total tile count is, you know that there is 7 tiles high. Well, and we want 50 kilos worth of steam pressure. That makes it 350 kilos. So I want 350 kilos of water in every single tile down here. Seriously, why hasn't anybody gotten the abyssalite yet? Thank you, one who watches fire. Look at you, you're not even getting hot. Now let's seal up this spike, and then we'll be able to get rid of these ladders. We're getting so close. And please, do not forget to build this wall in. You know what? So this obsidian doesn't fall, I can just make this out of a steel mesh tile, and then the obsidian will sit up here and we'll be able to pick it up. That's nice and easy. Spike number 1 is sealed. So let's start grabbing all this. I am going to have to deconstruct one of these tiles because when we deconstruct this ladder, we're not going to be able to reach to grab that igneous rock. And I would like this area to stay as clean as possible. Look at that, it worked like a charm. And now the more this volcano erupts, it's only adding more magma to the magma biome. Pretty handy. With the floor in, I can start adding water, liquid, water, enable auto bottle, and then all that'll be left is waiting till there's 350 kilos in each tile. The room is finished, so it's time to seal it up. Oh, this has turned out so well. Not a single issue. Here's the first bit of the water coming in. I'm going to set the smart battery at 9070. That's what the rest of our steam turbines are set on. The only thing that has a higher priority than the steam turbines is the hydrogen generators. I really hope I haven't forgotten anything about this because the time is about done for me to make any sort of changes. We're still dropping off some water. Right now we only have about 18 kilos in every tile. So it will be a few more minutes before enough water is in there before I can turn it on. But in the meantime, I have set the thermal sensors for 205 degrees. The reason why is because, yeah, our thermal aqua tuner has an overheat temperature of 325. The battery is 275, but there's also a maximum heat of steam that a steam turbine can process, and that is around 200 degrees. Anything over 200 degrees, and we're wasting thermal energy, and below that point, we're not getting as much power that we could. Oh my dear goodness, what happened to my fertile? Why is there gunk in here? Oh, bad boops. Why in the world are the boops using this sink and toilet? You have all these gunk extractors that you could be using. Well, it looks like it's time to put a filter on these. This is gonna have to be a future eco project. I don't feel like dealing with this. But I suppose I can put a buffer tank somewhere in here. Maybe right here. That'll be fine. And then I'll put a liquid filter right here. If it's polluted water, it can go out into the fertilizer synthesizers. Otherwise, it will go into the buffer tank. Nip it off there and right here and here. I suppose we'll throw this nonsense in there. Actually, it'd be smarter for me to link it up this way, so that the liquid filter could filter these 3 blobs as well. If there's gunk here, that could stop it. So if I put a tile there, the gunk would also fall to here, and then I could get in right through here. And then I'll also have to clean these pipes out. This is not what we planned to do today. Thanks, boops. Hopefully this gunk holds. This is in the outside area, so the dupes are in suits. There's 126 kilos of gas in here. Why aren't you pumping? Oh my goodness. This entire time, I could have been using this natural gas. There's 126 kilos of natural gas in every single tile. And it's as easy as pumping it out right through here. How did I get that sidetracked to completely forget this? And how many of you viewers saw this? I don't even know what episode we built this in. That's how long it's been. Alright, the gunk is holding all this natural gas in, which is good. Unfortunately, there will always be some gunk in there because I can only mop this tile over. If I mop this tile, it would remove my awesome little lock here. And I do not want to lose any of this natural gas. Okay, this fertilizer synthesizer is fixed. I do have a gunk drop off all the way down here, so we have a place for all the bottles of gunk to go. Look at that, we found some natural gas. Amazing. I decided I'm tired of waiting for the water to collect, so I'm going to add a few more bottle drainers. I really do love the fact that they added bottle drainers. It makes everything quicker than setting up pumps, providing power to the pump, then using a bottle emptier. This might be my favorite quality of life feature they've introduced in probably the past year. And before I forget, I'm disabling the permissions on this door, so no dupes can go in here and possibly mess anything up. It would probably be smart to insulate this whole portion in for safety features. Yeah, I suppose we'll do it. I'll put a tile there since there is magma, and then do something like this. And that way, if a gas does end up in here, we won't have to worry about it superheating and destroying everything. I just realized I had forgotten to analyze this volcano. So unfortunately, a dupe's gonna have to go in there and stand in the magma. We need to find out when this thing erupts and when it doesn't. I'd like to find out its average output, so... Sorry, dupe. Maybe you can draw straws. 230 kilos? Another 130 to go? Even with 45 idle dupes, it still takes a little while to go get water and bring it all the way down here. On the good news front, though, is our primary water tank is doing pretty good. We only have a little bit more to empty out of here, and at that point I might start melting the polluted ice on purpose, instead of just waiting to do its thing. Jerry, you're doing a great job! Apparently because Jerry's only standing in 893 kilos of magma, they're not overheating. Normally though, this would definitely be an overheat status. I don't know what's going on. On the good news for thermal front, we finally now have a deep freezer. That change from granite to igneous rock was all it took. Mental note, do not use insulated granite pipes. Use igneous rock or better. Jerry's body temperature is rising, about 0.1 of a degree every second, so eventually they will start overheating. I'm guessing it's because they're standing on abyssalite and in a suit. I'm sure it's not going to help when it starts raining magma, but Jerry's about a third of the way there. Keep going, Jerry. Jerry decided they needed a break, and so Daox is taking the reins, which is great because Daox is a little cooler. So I think we're going to be able to finish this without the possibility of people getting scalded. And look at that. We managed to finish before it even erupted. This minor volcano is a minor volcano indeed. Its average output is only 577 grams per second. That is not great. But we did manage to fill the pool a little bit more. And no, this is not debris, this is magma that has cooled. I didn't leave anything behind this time. In my waiting, I realized that we dug up this neural vacillator, but had not used it. We did AR last time, and I typically do alphabetical, so let's just pick somebody at random. Mark Wood, come on down. Let's find out what happened to Mark Wood. The deep diver's lung. Man, it would be great if I could give every dupe in the colony that, huh? Maybe that's the solution. We don't need more water, we need less oxygen. For those you didn't know, you can recharge the neural vacillators by analyzing artifacts. Every artifact that you analyze, you end up getting a neural vacillator recharge. Granted, that would take me forever, because just because we have a neural vacillator recharge, we'd have to keep doing every single dupe until they got deep diver's lungs. More bad news is the fact that we're out of slime, which means none of our dust caps are growing, so the dupes are no longer going to be eating fried mushrooms. So to prevent all the dupes coming in here and refertilizing plants that aren't growing, I'm going to set the permissions on these doors. That way they can only leave. I'm also going to dig these little guys up. So it's a good thing that we're getting the geothermal power online and we're going to space next because we do get slime meteors up here. I'm going to keep an eye on the calorie count, where I am once again thankful that the deep freezers are working, because the last thing I want to do in a colony that I was worried about the oxygen is run out of food. Remember, each level of Drecos is only about 9 to 9.5 dupes worth of barbecue. And we only have 6 levels. So I'm guessing that's about 60 dupes worth. What other food do we have? We have the Dreco meat coming from here, so let's say 63. We have hatches, that's 68, 73. We're out of sulfur, so we're not getting anything from the divergence. We get a little bit of meat from the shovels, but not enough to carry us. And I think that's it for food. Oh wait, we also have Paku. Who knows how much food this is providing? Let's say another 3 dupes worth. So we're missing food for about 20 duplicants. Hopefully the 1.6 million calories last long enough for us to go grab all this slime. So the left side of the heat room is sitting around 330 kilos, but the right side is only at 225. Every bottle we drop off raises the level about 4 kilos. So I'm thinking 20 to 30 more bottles and we should be able to fire this thing up. I suppose we could also do a culling in here. That'll give us a little bit more barbecue that we can freeze. And maybe we can start some more hatch ranches. I did say we were sitting at over 2,000 tons of igneous rock. And even after that large construction project, we still have over 2,000 tons. In the background, I'm going to put up another 4 hatch ranches and start getting those online. And lucky for us, there's plenty of space right here. All these incubators are unpowered, so they only replace 5 hatches. So this is 10 hatches worth. This is 20 hatches. And we need 8 times 6 is 48. So a total of 10 incubators. That's not too bad. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess the 2 in the middle will have a pair. I am once again running out of ores. I think that copper is spent. I will switch over to iron ore. In fact, I'm going to make all of these by iron ore. Remember, we have plenty of iron for the colony because of the volcano. We do not have plenty of copper. Luckily for this design, we have a food rail right here. So all the excess that are not being incubated can go right down there. And that is easy enough to hook up to. And there we go. 4 more ranches. We already have 2 from the overstock from the other 2 ranches. Hopefully they make lots of babies really quick so we can eat them. But in all seriousness, the good news is once they are all online, as long as we have igneous rock, our dupes will not starve because between the Drecos and the fish, which are pretty much infinitely sustainable, we will have food covered. And that's not even counting any extra food that we get from fried mushrooms. Speaking of which, somebody needs to go in there. These little guys are still growing. So we will have some time before we get the fried mushrooms back online. And what happened to all my carbon dioxide? Do I have a leak in here or something? There was enough carbon dioxide and now there's not. It must be because the oxygen pressure is so high. Why is the oxygen pressure going so high? Without further ado, I think it is time to kick this thing on. We have 400 over here and 300 over here, so it'll all equalize. Let me turn these off and deconstruct them as a matter of fact. Snip it off from the top of the turbine, and it's time to generate some heat. Now this shouldn't happen very quickly, but we will be able to see. I'm going to flip off the signal switch so it'll send a red and then say above. Heat is being injected into the diamond window tile. This water is quickly raising in temp. So let me do the rest of them. And now all we do is wait for some boiling. Well, that didn't take very long. I love the new boiling mechanics in the liquids. You can see the little bubbles. And now the thermal sensors are set correctly, so if it does get above 205 over here, it will open this door back. You don't have to worry about the signal switch, because remember, greens override reds on the automation. So we're basically using this as an emergency switch. If I ever need to stop the heat flow, I can manually. Remember, all that steam also has to heat up all the temperature shift plates, but it's not going to have any problems doing that. Another thing to keep in mind is the fact that, yeah, we're transferring a lot of heat from one side of the diamond window tiles to the other, but this is only during charge up. We shouldn't be draining too much heat from these spikes once this whole heat room gets calibrated. This thermal aqua tuner is in a steam bath, so I can also start it. If the oil is above, let's say 30 degrees, you can run. That's only going to give us more heat in here. And hopefully our conduction panels do what they're supposed to. You can see that the steam turbines are dropping in temperature. The question is the thermal aqua tuner going to be able to keep up once the steam turbines are on? I'm not feeling real optimistic about our situation. Steam turbine is up to about 60 degrees. It is producing us a wonderful 800 watts though. I'll wait and see until the whole thing is operating at peak efficiency what the temperature of the steam turbines levels out at. We'll have to do one of two things. A, change the oil out to polluted water, which would be a little bit better. Or B, fill this whole room with an atmosphere, which wouldn't be too bad. I would just have to seal it off right here. But I would rather keep this whole place a vacuum if I could. Now you might be thinking that the steam turbines are just too good for this amount of heat. But the temperature in the room is still rising. You can see that door just opened. I'm more concerned about the temperature of the steam turbine because it does not look like this is going to hold. There's another possibility is I could add another conduction panel and have the coolant go through it. Let me try that because this turbine is starting to flicker. It might also help once we get the battery up to charge and it turns off the steam turbines, it would help them cool. And that's going to happen once there's enough heat in here. You can see we're holding stable around 200 degrees at this corner. Let me get a few minutes and see how we do. We've pretty much stabilized with temps. The doors are opening more often than they're closing. So what I'm going to do, in fact, I'm not going to do it here, is I'm going to drain all of this and add some polluted water. Now, I don't know if a polluted water bottle sitting on top of a bottle drainer off gases, so I'm going to fill it from this side. The first thing I'm going to do is turn off the steam turbines, just like that. They'll stop running, and then I'll start draining all of these. To do that, I'm just going to hook them up like this. And then the same way we did before, I'm going to fill it all with polluted water. Polluted water has a thermal conductivity of 0.58 and a specific heat capacity of 4.1. Oil, it's only 2 and 1.6. So the polluted water coolant loop will probably do a better job. In fact, while we're also doing this, let me get rid of this experiment, which this is going to be great because this entire room is going to equalize at around 205 degrees. I'll also turn off the thermal aqua tuners while we do this. Oh, and I'm a big silly. I was dumping polluted water in here, and of course I forgot to disconnect the liquid vent. So all that work we did before was for naught. I need to hurry up and mop that up as well. Welcome to the polluted water is included stream. Oh, that's not good. What happened? Something with a bionic dupe. Find and consume oxygen. Well, hopefully that doesn't keep happening. The good news is I can catch this mistake before it happens again. So in my infinite wisdom, I was plumbing some of these pipes and I realized, yeah, we are still in a vacuum. I suppose we should thank past Echo for actually sealing in the magma chamber. There's only milligrams in here, which is not a huge deal. It doesn't even really matter that there is an environment in there now because, well, because we sealed in all the important parts. But I'll use one gas pump to try to get the rest of the gases out. It's not going to make a big difference either way. But the good news is all of our thermal aqua tuner loops are filled again, so I can turn them back on and then reconnect the steam turbines and see how they do. The room did equalize around 206 degrees. Oh, and look at that glorious amount of power. Each one of the steam turbines is producing 1275 watts. I better take a thumbnail picture right now. Look at how glorious that looks. And while I'm at it, I should probably get the off-gassing polluted water bottles away too. And it looks like the polluted water did do the trick. We're hovering around 91 degrees, and these steam turbines are running flat out. So I'm going to call that stabilized and good. And all three doors are still open. We did end up with about 50 kilos worth of gas pressure. A little less towards the right, but that's okay. What's incredible is all of these steam turbines, and we're still not maxing out this battery. I really didn't think this colony was using that much power. If you ever run into this sort of problem, and it's my next step, if I can't keep these steam turbines cool using the conduction panels, what I'll end up doing is running nothing but radiant liquid pipes. What are you? Oh, you little weird ball. Must have been stuck in the aqua tuner. I'll turn all the coolant lines into radiant liquid pipes and then put a thin coat of oil all the way on the bottom, and that should do the trick. I suppose the other issue could be the fact that the steam turbines are made out of lead. Let's do a quick experiment before we sign off, shall we? We're going to change the material of this steam turbine to copper. One of the things that's holding this thing back is probably the fact that it's a copper conduction panel, which is good, trying to cool a lead steam turbine, which doesn't have as good thermal conductivity. The copper steam turbine definitely did the trick. We're hovering around 60 degrees on the steam turbine, so I suppose the next thing I'm doing is changing all of these steam turbines over to copper. Remember, folks, just say no to lead steam turbines, unless you're going to cool them the traditional way. Of course, I could just leave them lead because they are hovering around 94 to 95 degrees, which is plenty good enough. I have a feeling this episode's going to be another long one when it hits the editing room. I'd love to know what you think about this design and what you might have done differently. But I don't think it's too bad for over 16,000 watts of power. So until next time, much love, happy gaming, and I'll talk to you soon.